morning, good afternoon, or possibly good evening. It is me, T. Shroom, in for the Investing Bros. I hope that you are having a really good morning or evening or whatever it is, guys. We've got some big news here from SBF, of course, being found guilty. We'll go straight to it. It's been quite a wild ride for him, but now he is being found guilty. Let's listen to a clip.
My name is Damen Williams, and I'm the United States Attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Sam Bankman-Fried perpetrated one of the biggest financial frauds in American history, a multi-billion-dollar scheme designed to make him the king of crypto. But here's the thing. The cryptocurrency industry might be new. The players like Sam Bankman-Fried might be new. But this kind of fraud, this kind of corruption is as old as time, and we have no patience for it. My name is Damen Williams.
There you go. So Damen Williams laying it down. That's a good truth. I really like that. It's sobering. He clearly put a lot of thought into those statements. You know, that there's a lot new going on here at crypto, right? And there's going to be ways to manipulate people who are interested in crypto, and there still are going to be a few more, in my opinion. That's kind of what we're going to talk about. There's still going to be a few more, shoes left to fall, more than likely here when it comes to fraud in crypto. But fraud itself is nothing new. It's not impressive. It's not cute. Okay, so that's my kind of 2 cents on it here, and we've got a lot more coverage of this. So strap in. Check this out. So this is Shibtoshi Nakamoto. I believe it's the founder of Dogecoin. He said, "Pro tip: altruism is not very effective when it's about stealing from the poor. Crypto degens and giving their money to rich celebrities, Kevin O'Leary, bribing politicians, and giving your already rich parents a $20 million mansion." There he is. There he is, the effective altruist. If you guys aren't really tracking kind of specifically what that's about, SBF was part of this group of effective altruists. A lot of tech bros, kind of call themselves effective altruists. Well, it's faced a lot of criticism, and now one of its, leaders is going to jail for 115 years, allegedly. I guess allegedly isn't the word here. Approximately 115 years. So, but it doesn't end there. There's a lot more to get into. The biggest thing here is that it's all over the freaking news. So CNN's covering it, The Verge, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, The Ringer, Washington Post. That's the big one, right, guys? CoinDesk, not a surprise. Reuters. This is big news, right? And it's because of what the attorney said. Axios, TechCrunch, TechCrunch getting in on it. That this is one of the biggest financial frauds ever run in the United States, right? It's not cute, right? A lot of people were seriously damaged by this. Now, I think what's really interesting is if the money will be able to be returned. Obviously, it's not going to be 100 cents on the dollar to be returned to folks, but hopefully it'll be something. Maybe 30 cents. Hopefully, maybe 55 cents. Something actually nice. But we'll see. We will see. All right, guys. Well, we got some more economic data that we want to go over here. Let's just look at it plain and simple. We will return to a few more SBF notes, I think, before we're done. But let's check it out here, because in the United States, we did get some new updates here. The non-farm payroll came in lower than expected, and the unemployment rate came in higher than expected, okay? So let's look into it really quick, and then I'll present a summary for you all. U.S. payrolls increased by 150,000 in October, less than expected, okay? So here's the payrolls. Came in lower than expected in an already downtrend in new added payrolls, okay? Then also you have the unemployment rate coming in at 39%, when it was expected by the Dow Jones to come in at 3.8%. 3.9% was the print for unemployment. The expectation was 3.8%. Okay, so all of this translates to softening in the labor market, right? Which is what the Fed has been trying to induce with its rate hikes. So now that it's starting to see a bit of weakness in the labor market, it's all the more reason that the Fed will not raise rates, and that they may even pause, and that they may even cut rates a little bit sooner. So that's kind of what you can extrapolate here. Now, this is one data point. In the overall trend, the Fed will be looking for consistent weakening in the labor market. Now, you might be wondering, why does the Fed want to induce weakening in the labor market? Well, we'll save that for another time, but essentially that is aligned with their goals. That is a task, right? A subset of achieving the ultimate goal, which is getting inflation back down to 2%. Okay, so that's really, really important to them. And for the Keynesian economic world that we live in, that is really important to get that 2% inflation rate target achieved. And they have to soften the labor market in order to do that. Well, we had some tweets from one of my favorite Bitcoin bulls. This is Robert Kiyosaki. He's got a pretty lengthy tweet here, but I'm going to read it all. Rich Dad lesson number 1: the rich don't work for money. Why? Because our wealth is designed to be stolen from our fake money via taxes and inflation and the stock market. Instead, the rich work for assets that put tax-free money in their pockets. Cash flow assets such as rental properties, food, oil, and rather than save money, the rich save gold, silver, and look at this one, Bitcoin. Maybe you've heard of it. The poor and middle class want jobs that promise a steady paycheck but offer no job security. Even worse, the poor and middle class work at jobs that pay taxable fake dollars, and they then save their dollars, then invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, which are crashing as I write this text. Lesson: the rich do not want jobs or fake paper assets. The rich want assets that put real tax-free money in their pocket, and they know how to save real assets. I don't know what that is. GSBC assets that provide long life, financial security, and freedom. That's Rich Dad's lesson, simple, number 1. Okay, so if you don't know, Robert Kiyosaki wrote the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books. This was one of the first books that I read when I was in high school. Okay, it really opened my eyes to passive income, and residual income was what it was called back then. And so, it's always nice to see Robert giving a shout out to Bitcoin in his rants here. So it's good. I'm not, rant. I'm not using that in the pejorative at all when I say that. So always good to see something positive from, big influencer in the financial space. Robert Kiyosaki is known for, being quite wealthy. He's operated a lot of businesses that have got him pretty far, and so it's nice to see, again, a shout out to Bitcoin, which he does probably, I'd say at this point, probably every 3 weeks. You get something on the radar from old Robert. All right, well, let's take a look here. Let's take a look at the charts before we get into more Bitcoin stories. Let's take a look at Bitcoin really quickly here. Not going to spend too much time on this. On the weekly chart, you can see it's actually got a candle up above the upper bound of the Bollinger Band. Right now, we are trading at 34,400 per Bitcoin, and we'll go into the daily chart here really quickly and just kind of see what we got cooking up here. Okay, so we had a rejection here. Let's see what that price was exactly. I think it was pretty close to 30. Yeah, so it didn't quite get to 36. Let's go down to the 4-hour just so we can get a more accurate approximation. Those of you watching and listening, make sure you smash the like button. It really helps out the channel, really helps us out. And it looks like here we got up to 35,961 before we corrected down. Now this was actually back on the 1st. Okay, but since then we've pretty much had a movement to the downside. Come on the 4-hour chart, breaking through that midline of the Bollinger Band and headed back down to the chart prime trend assist. Now back out on the daily, we saw that we rejected actually at a drawn line there for chart prime. So chart prime showing yet again that it knows what it's doing. You gotta love it. You gotta love these indicators. Chart prime, of course, you can get in 45% off with the link in the description. Just look for the chart prime link, and you'll be well on your way to a more informed trading experience. Let's go ahead and check out some of these Bitcoin headlines here. Bitcoin rally driven by macroeconomic factors, not spot ETF speculation. So this is actually a pretty interesting take from QCP Capital. Not something that I've really seen quite yet, although, logically it does make sense. Let's see if you agree. Bitcoin's recent surge to 35,000 has been largely influenced by macroeconomic factors rather than anticipation of spot ETF approval. according to them. So that's the statement, right? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the chat right now. And if you're watching this later on, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this? Do you think that this is true, or do you think it's not true and that it's actually the spot ETFs that are causing the move to the upside for Bitcoin and other crypto assets? The firm attributed the rally to a lower than expected treasury supply in Q1 and a dovish stance from the Federal Open Market Committee, the FOMC, which have led to decreased bond yields and bullish implications for risk assets like Bitcoin. Okay, so that's important. The cryptocurrency reached its peak at 38.2% Fibonacci retracement level at 35,000. Yeah, we just went over that. So, I mean, there's not really a whole lot more to unpack here. This is the question. This is the question I care about because this can determine where we go from here, right? So let's take a look at those bond yields really quickly. The bond yields that they're talking about are coming down, right? You can see this morning down 2.83%. Okay, so Janet Yellen, they announced Janet Yellen, who's the Secretary of the Treasury, okay, officially in the executive cabinet, right, for Joe Biden administration. She's issuing a whole bunch more bonds, right? Well, when you add supply to the bond market, or I'm sorry, let me get this right. Let me get this right because it's important. I believe they. Decrease in bond yields, yeah. So lower than expected treasury supply. I'm sorry. So they have actually issued bonds at a decreasing rate. So that is important to understand when we're taking a look at this, because when there's less bonds, okay, that makes the bonds more valuable, right, by the laws of supply and demand. Well, so then why is the price coming down? Well, because this is not the price. This is the yield, and yields run inverse to bond values. Now you might be saying, T-Shroom, I'm just too confused by this. I don't care. Good. That's fine. That's a camp that a lot of folks are in. What's important to realize is that those yields are coming down, right? And so you might be hearing old people talking about, oh, I'm getting 5% somewhere, risk-free. Well, this is what they're talking about. This is what they're talking about right here. You see how this is almost 5%, right? That's what they're talking about. Maybe they're getting 4.5% in some kind of Fidelity thing or Vanguard, right? Or with their banks offering, 4. Very popular right now. Well, that's coming down. So what does that mean? That means the window for money to move into risk-free assets, U.S. bonds, is closing, right? Now, there's going to be some money try to flood in there because they were already trying to make that decision. Good for them, right? But more than likely, this moment of, historically high interest rates, risk-free interest rates, APYs, is closing, right? So that means that money's going to flood back into risk assets, right, to try and beat inflation. Okay, so that's going to be, equities, S&P, Apple, Home Depot stocks, right, but also Bitcoin, Ethereum on further out on the risk curve for most people. So this is overall bullish. Right, it's overall bullish, and that's what this article is trying to point out here from QCP Capital. Appreciate you guys hanging with me while we sorted through that bond story. It's important though, right? Because if those bond yields do continue to come down, as this chart shows, which it's slicing through support, slice through the one-day Bollinger Band midline, slicing through that trend assistant, it's coming toward that dynamic reactor, which would put it back around 4.1%. Okay, if we get back down there, that's going to be a much less attractive bond rate for investors to go park their money, big money, right? The big money loves the risk-free 5% interest. That's great. If you're a fund manager, that's where I'm putting my money, right, for my clients. Big money clients. Okay. But now that opportunity looks like it's coming to a close, you are going to see a big surge and people trying to capitalize on that last minute in case that window closes. But I think ultimately this is kind of signaling back, hey, if you want to beat inflation, and if you want to grow your money, like Robert Kiyosaki taught you with his books, right? You got to find an alternative to bonds. Okay, so we think we beat that story pretty well. Let's keep moving here. That is going to be, but that is interesting though, and I want to see. Let's see in the comments if anybody has been able to reply to this question. 07 T-Shroom and Chat Fam. Not exactly sure. Bedridden said he is right. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin. David Williams. Question mark. Questioning that. Maybe you're not into gold and silver there. Army Piper saying, let's go. Crypto Mini Bike said, good morning, everybody. Love the thumbnail. I appreciate that. Hilarious thumbnail. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to end off on some more SBF news here in just a few minutes. That is we'll indulge ourselves. I'd say it's a little degen behavior, maybe not the most ethical behavior in the world. That's not going to be unethical, right? But it's not the most upstanding, button to the top behavior. But Kasha Cat said, get them likes up. Absolutely, guys. Get those likes up and tickle the like button 100%. All right, so I'm not really seeing too many people take a side for or against QPC Capital or whatever in their thesis here that it's actually the economy, the macroeconomics that's pushing Bitcoin higher, not the ETF anticipation. Obviously, the right answer here is probably it's a combination of both, right? But certainly, when it comes to the economy, an easy way to kind of snapshot all of this is to take a look here at the Dixie. As Tim has pointed out in his TA, through the Bitcoin pump, right? Now, the Bitcoin pump started, let's actually go back so we can get an accurate reading here. But ultimately, the point is here, guys, is that the Dixie being flat, right? The Dixie going into a crab market while has created an environment where Bitcoin can move to the upside. What is the Dixie? The Dixie is relative value of the dollar versus a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Other currencies, baskets of commodities, a whole bunch of other stuff. But it's basically saying how much more powerful is the dollar today rather than yesterday. Well, you can see that purchasing power is reducing, okay? So what does that mean? That means that people want to get into gold, get into silver, get into bonds, get out of the dollar. As that's happening, good for Bitcoin. Okay. CD Unicorn said, hi, fam. What is up, CD Unicorn? David Williams said, in the quote, it says GSBC, gold, silver, Bitcoin. Gotcha. Thank you so much, David Williams. I appreciate that. So you're trying to help me out, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you so much. All right, let's get into this story here about XRP. Major announcement from Ripple. What are the implications? The Dubai Financial Services Authorities, the DFSA, I'm sure you stay up at night thinking about this one here, has approved the use of Ripple's XRP cryptocurrency within the Dubai International Finance Center, the DIFC, enabling digital asset companies to incorporate XRP into their services. So this is kind of a big win for XRP. We also saw a similar headline for the country of Georgia as well. So XRP making some big breakthroughs. It means that their business development team is kind of on the prowl right now, really out there being aggressive, trying to get after it and get some countries to sign up for the services that Ripple offers. Will this be reflected in the price for XRP? I don't know. Let's check on the price this morning here for XRP. Actually, haven't done really a snapshot of crypto prices quite yet. XRP right here up 0.4%. So it doesn't seem like this news is really propelling prices really in any direction, higher or lower. One thing I did want to point out is that Solana actually leading the market lower here, down 2.3%. You do have XDC down even more than that. But Solana giving back some of those gains that it had earlier this week. Not down too much, I'd have to say, but right now it is down 16.5% since the highs that it wicked up to just a few days ago. So that's going to be a little bit of an XRP and a Solana update. You'll have 2 for 1 there. So that's pretty nice. Let's see if we can get some more good news here. Block stock soars as Cash App's Bitcoin revenue hits 2.42 billion. So there you go. Now Jack Dorsey, I believe, is the founder of Block, and it saw 5.62 billion in revenue for the third quarter, largely driven by its Bitcoin-related business. So good for Cash App. If you're a user of Cash App, good for you. They definitely have very effectively integrated crypto and Bitcoin and made it easy for the little guy, right? For the suburban house mom, right? For the skater punk, for folks who may not have the time or the interest in learning about blockchain like we do, right? But they want to own a little bit, right? They want to, for one reason or another, get a little bit of exposure to a inflation-proof asset. So that's really good. Cash App obviously does a ton more. And I will tell a little anecdote. Hanging out with my dad last night. What's up, Dad? Yeah, he uses Venmo. He uses Venmo to trade Bitcoin, and hey, he's been very profitable, to be honest with you. He was showing me his P&L yesterday on Venmo, man, he's killing it. He's killing it, doing really, really well. I think he's up like 30% just trading Bitcoin on Venmo. But I try to tell him, he's literally paying $2 in and out per trade. And I'm like, look, there's cheaper ways to do it on Robinhood, which we have a link for down in our description. Free trades in and out for, I believe it's like 15 different cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. All right. You get a free stock when you sign up. So that's pretty cool too. All right, let's go ahead and see. We've got one more. I think we'll go ahead and wrap up with this one here, guys. We've got one more story, and that is going to be the SBF story, which is asking the question here, where will Sam Bankman-Fried be sent to prison? The options are bleak. So the conclusion here is actually what I want to kind of start with. Some expert who's doing this analysis said that SBF is due to a lack of ideal options, most likely to be sent either to FCI Hairlong or USP Lompoc north of Santa Barbara, or to FCI Mendota outside of Fresno. So hopefully that means something to you guys. A couple of these are actually expanded on. So let's see. One California medium security federal prison, FCI Victorville, has such an extensive record of inmate violence that it is colloquially referred to as Victimville, while FCI Victorville technically fits the criteria for the type of prison that SBF may end up. Zacchaeus, it's almost like Zacchaeus from the Bible, doubts the Federal Bureau of Prisons would want to risk the negative publicity that would likely come if the former Silicon Valley darling was assaulted or murdered in custody. Okay. So you can see the future for SBF here is it's riddled with darkness, to be honest with you. So it's sad. It's sad, the prison system in the U.S., I should say. I'm not really shedding a tear here for SBF at all, because he's got what he's got, this is justice. Justice is served. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been T. Shroom in for the Investing Bros. Leave us a like on the way out. It's been a real pleasure to have you on board. We are starting to see the jobs, the labor market starting to soften, which is good. It's bad news in general for the labor market, right? Kinda. I mean, the numbers aren't coming down strong, but it's bad news for the labor market. It's good news for investors, right? Because the Fed now has less of an incentive to continue hiking. Again, we'll get into more detail on this probably later today on our 3 p.m. live show. It is Friday, guys. We do our free live show today at Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're going to tune in. You're going to have a lot of fun. Make sure you smash the like on the way out, guys. And, I'm so glad I saw this. If you have not already, send me your NFTs in the Discord. DM me your NFTs. You could also send them to me on Twitter at tshroom. The link to my Twitter should be in the description of this video as well. Send me your NFTs, and I will put them here behind me in my gallery, which I think is going to get a remodel here pretty soon. But as you can see, these NFTs are going away, and I'm going to be putting some new ones in there. I've already got 2, so I really only have 1, maybe 2 slots open if I decide to take that Dogecoin out. We'll see. But let me know, because I've got to print these. I've got to print these out, and then I've got to put them in their frame, and then I've got to put them up on the wall, and that's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm happy to do it. So send me your NFTs on Discord or Twitter here on X. So we'll see. I will see you guys at 3 p.m. today. Have a great rest of your day.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.